Hello grapplers and welcome to a new video. It is very frequent for you to be in situations where the DI is guaranteed and so is the stun. So a checkmate situation. Editing Capcom here. I think I forgot to mention why do I mean exactly during the video with the supers and checkmates. If you have any super and you go for any setup and the opponent reacts, they can go for any of their supers. What I mean with checkmate is that you can do this if they don't have any supers. I do mention super level 1, super level 1 across the entire video, meaning super level 1 because it's the cheapest one, but you can actually reversal with anything you have, super level 2, super level 3. And that applies even to slow supers like Zangief because super level 2 has invincibility from frame 1. It can be used in even situations where there's only one frame gap or 2 frame gap, so you can also do it. And now continue with the video. Thanks. I've said this in the past and I've always been responded, you have to take care of your meter or this doesn't happen that often. And to be fair, there is some value to every single opinion about that because while there are some checkmate situations, they are specific, but I'm gonna try to give my 2 cents about this whole discussion just before we continue probably into the next season. The drive system is encouraged. You have to go for drive, either drive reversals, OD moves, DRCs, raw drive rushes, DIs. You have to use the drive system. You have to be very careful with the amount of meter you use because every reversal, OD reversal takes 2 meters and every drive reversal takes also 2 meters. So defending, besides parrying, is very risky for you in terms of meter management. You don't want to be in a position where you have to do them. But sometimes you have to. This game doesn't encourage blocking. This is a very common example with Lily. If she has Windstock and she goes for the Condor Spire, she's gonna be +1. From here, you can try to parry, you can OD reversal, you can do a few things, but the reality is she's +1, so she can absolutely continue the pressure withstanding like it. Alternatively, you can stop her from doing the first Condor Spire by Shoryuken, maybe perfect parrying, neutral jumping, so you have options. But for the sake of this argument, we're gonna just continue blocking. If she has 3 levels, she can go for this. And the last one is just OD for the sake of it, so she's +2 instead of +1, so instead of doing this as a frame trap, she can do this. That was a lot of meter. Sometimes you have to use the drive reversal just to escape this pressure. You don't want to be here. And if that happens, it takes 2 drive meters to do the drive reversal, plus a little bit more because you have to block first. That is huge, just for escaping this. So just by playing the game normally, and this is obviously Lily, other characters like Blanca, Yuri, DJ, even Zangief, JP, a lot of characters are really good at damaging, not necessarily, well, they can also damage your health meter, but more the drive meter. So just by playing the game normally, it is pretty common, and this even happens at the highest level, to be in burnout. You can be very smart with your drive usage, but you can still get to burnout. With that out of the way, now let's talk about being in burnout in the corner. Before we head into that, I'm gonna put Ryu to just standard to recover the meter normally. If you stand still, you'll see that Ryu is actually recovering the drive meter very slowly. You can increase the speed of this by walking forwards. If you throw the opponent, during the beginning, you'll see that the meter just moves normally and then jumps a little bit. And the final thing you can do is attacking the opponent. Also, if you jump in any direction, the meter recovers slowly. If you block attacks, you're gonna recover your meter faster. However, if you get hit, you'll see that you recover actually slower. You're encouraged to block, walk forward, or attack the opponent. And also very importantly, if the opponent grabs you, the meter recovers pretty slow. You don't want to get thrown in a game with throw loops. You can cancel any move that has cancelable properties into DI. However, not every move is the same. You can have a bigger gap with DI, thus you, in this case Ryu, can escape by jumping or throwing. Generally, you cannot press buttons. You'll see that if I do this, even the light one, from lights, you'll see that you can jump. Even if you block a drive rush light, you can also jump. If you do get hit, and you try to jump, you'll see that you can also jump, but not if they drive rush and press the DI from a light. If I press a light on hit into DI, I get thrown, counter hit. Even if I drive rush, and this also happens on block, I get thrown. If the opponent goes from a medium, usually a medium into DI, you also get thrown. On hit, same story. Where things change is when the opponent drive rushes. You can do a raw drive rush or a DRC medium and go into the DI, and this usually, depending on the medium, that is for sure. Well, for this example, I'm gonna use crouching medium kick. You'll see that I cannot get the throw. You don't have enough frames. And if you do it from here, that's also not the case. So if they drive rush and you block a medium into the eye, you cannot jump, backdash, press a button, or throw. So you're essentially locked into that situation. Now there's something very interesting that could happen. Let's say counter hit, which means that hitting you during the start of another move. This happens very often if, for example, the Luke player wants to go for a meaty. If this happens and this Luke player goes into the eye, this will actually combo, leaving Luke at plus 35. This is no bueno for you, because at that point, a plus 35, considering the startup of the drive rush is 26 frames, that means the Luke player can do this. And that is guaranteed. Another example that could happen is heavies. From heavies on block, there's nothing you can do. However, if they go for a drive rush heavy into the eye, you'll see that if you block it, this produces a lock. Because there is no gap, the lock is still pretty good for the attacker, because the attacker is going to be +1, so they can continue the pressure with a light, probably. If this happens on hit, same example, they're going to be plus 35. Now, where do this start to make a little bit more sense? In setups. Because if you really want to analyze this entire situation, you can stop Luke from pressing the standing heavy punch. It is hard. Very complicated. Or you can stop him from doing a drive rush. For example, this. You can technically stop the drive rush. However, again, there's setups for these situations where there's nothing you can do, or you leave yourself open for them to continue this. And one thing with Luke that is very obvious is that he has a really good throw. The forward throw is plus 19 frames. That means Luke can drive rush, meet you with something here, a drive rush crouching medium punch, and go for the eye. If you block it, you're gonna be basically in a guaranteed stun for Luke. If you press a button or try to do something, you're gonna get hit by the drive rush crouching medium punch, ADI, Luke is gonna get a knockdown, plus 35. For this example, I'm gonna put Ryu to wake up reversal with crouching light punch, and this is something that can actually happen in a real match. There's nothing you can do if you don't have super level 1. That's something I always forget to mention. If you don't have super level 1, it is very likely for you to get into a checkmate scenario. And this is not hard to do. At this point, you might be thinking, well, that might be just a Luke thing. There are no other characters that can get this. That's not true. We have our boy Zangief, and to be honest, even though I complain about super level 2 and other things, one of the best elements that Zangief has in this game is doing drive damage. And just by default, Zangief can get a health stab. This doesn't work against himself, funny enough. Against himself, he can go for a standing heavy punch. But if you do this against most of the cast, there's nothing they can do. If they block the health stab DI, they're gonna eat the guaranteed stun. But we're talking about setups here. Things you can do to absolutely do a checkmate situation. The drive rush I'm gonna do is drive rush immediate headbutt. You'll see that this is plus 15. Headbutt is 14 frames. I have a guaranteed second headbutt. Why is this important? Because headbutt always, on hit or on block, produces a stun. So this means if you do this, if they don't have super level 1, there's nothing they can do. The normal throw here, after damage, you don't have frames. And here, even Zangief cannot escape his own setup. Again, he's not the only one. This is just my character, so I'm just pointing this out. This is something I don't like in the game. I'm not a big fan of situations where there's nothing you can do if you don't have super level 1. And even if you have super level 1, sometimes you can't escape, because some characters like DJ, Zangief, Dalsim have really special super level 1s that don't work in the same way as other characters. So for those guys, maybe I'm missing someone, they cannot do this. Even if they have super level 1, they're gonna eat the guaranteed DI. And this is very common. A lot of characters have really good throws in the corner. Zangief himself can do it technically from Spinebuster. I didn't show that, but you can do it from Spinebuster. I wish this would be removed somehow, not necessarily totally removed, because I understand that this game has to punish the person without dry meter. My slight recommendation here, because I don't want to be overly critical without trying to add something to the conversation, maybe you have, let's say, over here, maybe you have 50% of the dry meter recovered. In burnout, you can do a special move that stops the opponent from continuing their pressure. However, you lose all of that meter, so you have to recover it again. And this can only happen maybe at 50%. So if you have 20%, 30% recovered, the opponent can still go for a setup like this. What's the point of all discussion? There are checkmate situations in the game. They are more common than you think, but you do have to be careful with your dry meter. A lot of players go into burnout themselves on their own terms, as they say. In a lot of matchups, you have to be extra careful with your dry meter. In others, you can go a little bit free with it, but you have to consider that is your lifeline. No matter if you play Zangief or other characters, you have to be very careful every time you use an OD move or you go for a DRC. If you're low on meter, you always have to be careful, because being in burnout, even though some characters can survive better than others, is not a good thing in Street Fighter 6. But this is more generally what I feel about the system. I hope this changes somehow in the future seasons. I don't want DI to be removed. I don't want drivers to be removed. In fact, a lot of the drive system, this is something that I'm not going to discuss now, but it's for another video, but the drive system is so intertwined with a lot of different parts moving that you cannot take one and the game immediately is going to be better. This game was built around the drive system, so you cannot remove the eye, drive reversal. Those things are just part of the system. They can rebalance it. Maybe they can increase the cost of some of the drive moves, reduce others. But for now, I think the drive system is gonna be how it is, and we have to accept that that's not going to change. But they can rebalance things so we don't get into these situations where the game feels unfair. That's all I have to say for today. If you really like this video, please subscribe, take care of yourselves, keep playing grapplers, and I'll see you in the next one.